welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a new video, and today I wanted to share the best and the worst foundations of 2022. Here on my channel, that's like 80% of the content is foundation review. So I tried out pretty much, I would say, a good portion of the new foundations that came out this year. I tried out a lot of them, and some of them were not so great. But luckily, I don't have that many ones to mention that I felt were terrible. Before we get started, if it is your first time watching, please hit the subscribe button. And if you are a returning subscriber, don't forget to hit the like button. I decided to put the foundation that I'm mentioning in 4 categories. I'm going to do the best new release ones of 2022. I'm going to do my favorites of the year. Now, my favorites of the year are not ones that were released this year. And I'm going to do the worst foundations that I feel were the worst ones this year. And I'll have just one category of the most disappointing ones, and I only have one for that particular category. So what I think I'm going to do is start with my favorites of the year, and then I'll go into the best new release foundations of 2022. And the first favorite of the year, it comes from Nars. This is the soft matte foundation. I finally picked up my correct shade this year, which is Balm medium deep 3.6, and I really like wearing this foundation. I like to wear it with a very hydrating primer, because if I go in with a mattifying primer, this is not going to work for me. And I think the first time I ever tried this, I used a matte primer and I became extremely oily within a couple hours, and at that point I never picked this foundation up. The one I had, I actually got rid of it, and I just was anti-Nars for a long time. But again, I got my correct shade this year and I've been in love with it. This is, again, a soft matte foundation. It is very long wearing. The shade I have pretty much looks exactly like skin. It doesn't transfer. This holds up all day. I will highly recommend this one if you have not tried it. But I feel like this is a pretty popular foundation on YouTube, so a lot of people have tried it and a lot of people do like it. The next foundation I will be mentioning is actually on sale at Sephora. It's been on sale for like the last year and a half, I believe, and it's on sale for $20. This is the Natasha Transformatte foundation. Excuse the packaging because it looks disgusting. Y'all, this is one of my favorite matte foundations. It is very lightweight. It is long wearing. This will make you look poreless. It isn't heavy, and this is made for the heat. So if you have extremely oily skin like myself, and let's just say for summertime, or you go in someplace where the climate is very hot, this is a foundation like you need to have. This looks super skin-like, but it is matte. When I say this is matte, it is very matte, but it's not going to turn cakey. It doesn't feel heavy. And I know a couple of y'all have actually went out and picked up this foundation and y'all say y'all love it. If you have not tried it out and you want a very good matte foundation, this is one I highly recommend. And the next favorite of mine this year, and I'm sure somebody has guessed it already. If you guessed the Tom Ford Traceless soft matte foundation stick, then you have guessed correctly. I just love the way that this looks. I'm actually wearing it right now. I actually have this and the Dior Forever Glow foundation mixed in today, just in case if anybody's wondering. This is, again, one of my favorite foundations. I actually prefer this over the Tom Ford liquid foundation. This is very skin-like. It gives you a natural finish. It is long wearing. It just looks really pretty on the skin. I love the way that this looks on camera. If I'm not doing something that's like a foundation related or a foundation review on my channel, this is the foundation I like to reach for to wear when I'm on camera, because it looks very flawless. This just looks very pretty. I will highly recommend this. This is on the pricey side. I believe it's about $89. I suggest getting this from the CCO store at a discounted price, even though it is worth spending the $88. But if that's a little too much for you right now, definitely go to your local CCO. The last two I want to mention that are my favorites is the Very Valentino foundation. This is pretty comparable to a foundation that I'm going to mention in today's video. I feel like they're pretty much the same thing, but I'll go into detail about that a little later in this video. This is another one that is skin-like. It is long wearing. It looks very pretty on the skin. I feel like this is priced at a nice price point for a luxury foundation. I believe this is about $60-something. This is a really good one. Now, this is not the most matte foundation, which I don't think it claims to be matte. I would say this is more like a natural finish, or I would say satin matte. The next one is the La Mer Soft Fluid Foundation. Y'all, this is another one that looks very pretty in person. It looks great on camera. It is very skin-like, and it also has a lot of skincare ingredients in it. So if you're somebody who wants skincare products in your foundation, this is one to pick up. Now, this is one of the pricey ones. Depending on where you get this from, the price can be different. I think at Sephora, this was retailing, I'm gonna say $140. I know a couple other places it retails for about $140. Then when you check somewhere else, it retails for like $125, $138. So I would definitely say shop around for this. And also, this is not at every CCO store, but it is available in some. So if you don't want to pay that amount of money for a foundation, check your CCO store. Now, I can't say for sure it will be in your local ones, because this is kind of like, you might see it and you might not. So I would say just go in store and see. The next category will be the worst foundations of the year. I feel like the two that I will be mentioning that I feel are the worst this year, this is just my opinion. Some of y'all might like them, some of y'all might agree, I don't know, but I feel like these two are the worst. And the first one is the Dior Forever Matte Foundation. This was reformulated earlier this year. I feel like this foundation is the true definition as why sometimes reformulating things does not work. You don't always need to reformulate certain things. I picked up the shade 5N when I first reviewed this, and first off, it was very orange. I feel like Dior needs to work on undertone, but 5N was very orange. So I went and I picked up 5W. This is very orange as well. This does not look good. Like, I feel like this starts to look very heavy. This will settle into every single pore on your face. Like, I don't know why they reformulated this, but they need to reformulate this again and bring back the old formula of this. Is not a good foundation. Like, this used to be really, really good. So I would say if you still have the old formula, I would try to hold on to that for as long as possible. You don't need to go out and pick this up. This is just not a good matte foundation. Like, I don't like it. This looks terrible in person. It's heavy. It is drying. This is one of the terrible matte foundations that I've tried in a while. I would not recommend this. If you saw my review on this earlier this year, you know I did not like it when I first reviewed it, and I still don't like it. The next foundation, and I know the girls on YouTube love them some Charlotte Tilbury, but Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. When I first picked this up, I did like it, but I continued to wear it throughout the year, and I started to dislike it more and more. This is one of those foundations that will make you look super greasy. I get very, very shiny with this. This also settles into my pores. I feel like this is not as long wearing. I would not classify this as a foundation that's going to give you the beautiful skin look. This is going to give you cakey, greasy, shiny. What is this? Like, that's how I feel looking at myself today. I liked it when I first picked it up. This again is one of the worst foundations of the year in my opinion. I don't like it. I feel like there's a lot of hype around Charlotte Tilbury products, and this is definitely one, because this is not as great as what everybody claims that it is. I have one for the most disappointing foundation of the year, and this is another one that was reformulated this year. This is the YSL All Hours Luminous Matte Foundation. Don't get me wrong, I really like this foundation a lot, but my issue with it is you will have a very hard time finding your undertone. Like, the undertones in this is definitely off. A lot of them are olive. Some of them are super red. I was very disappointed in this one. It took me a while to find my exact shade. I'm happy that I do. I have the shade DW4. It's a pretty good shade match. I do also have the shade DN5. This is the one that I first reviewed. So if you want to see how that looks, definitely check out this that video. But I will say, despite having an issue with the undertone, this is a really nice, I would classify this as a soft matte foundation. I feel like this YSL foundation is very similar to the very Valentino foundation. I feel like these look identical when you put them on the skin. You can't really tell the difference. I did my own little experiment to see exactly how similar they look and how they both wear throughout the day, and they pretty much look the same exact way. They perform the same exact way. So if you have this foundation, I don't feel like you need to rush out to get this one or vice versa, because these are literally the same exact thing. And I'm in the shade DA3 in the very Valentino foundation. So now for the best new release foundations this year, and the first one I will be starting out with is the skin tint. This is the Summer Friday Sheer Skin Tint. Y'all, this looks so good on the skin. It has a nice amount of coverage. Now, you're not going to get a lot of coverage because it is a skin tint. This gives you that very skin-like look. I like wearing this to the gym I feel like it just looks really nice on my skin, especially for those no makeup kind of days. I would highly recommend this. Like, this looks very pretty. It gives you kind of like a filter kind of look in person, and I feel like this is super affordable. I have the shade 7. I feel like this is a spot on shade match. I do have a review channel, so definitely check that out if you have not. If you're looking for a really good skin tint, this is one that I would highly recommend. This is one of the best ones of the year in my opinion. And the next foundation I feel like is one of the best new release this year. This is the Hermes Plein Air Complexion Balm. I've spoken about this on my channel since I tried it out for Foundation Friday. I still feel the same exact way. I love the way that this looks on the skin. Now, the shade range is not that great. They definitely could do a lot. I just like how pretty this looks, and I feel like this is pretty long wearing, and I have the shade 85. I would highly recommend this. I'm not sure if this will be going on sale, but if it ever does, you need to hurry up and snatch this up. And also, I would recommend going into store to swatch a couple of these shades. And the next foundation I feel like was one of the best new release. This is the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation. Usually I don't like radiant foundations, and typically cream products don't really work well on oily skin, but this is one that just actually works. You get a really good matte primer, and this looks so pretty on the skin. It gives you that healthy, your skin but better kind of look. It is very long wearing. It doesn't transfer. I reviewed this one as well on my channel. Check out that review if you have not. Also, this is one of the pricey ones. This is $130, but sometimes you can catch Clé de Peau products on sale at Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's. This is a really nice one. I actually like this one better than, I think it's the Natural Matte or Radiant Matte, something like that. I like this one a lot better than that one, so I would highly recommend this one. This also works well for all skin types. And the next foundation I feel like were one of the best ones this year, and there's a ton of reviews of this foundation on YouTube. This is the Lancome Tint Auto Care and Glow Foundation. This is going to look like your skin but better. It is very long wearing. This works for all skin types. Don't let glow scare you, because whenever I see a product that is glowy, I try to stay away from it, just because I have very oily skin, and glowy products can make me look very shiny. It's a pretty foundation. Lancome makes pretty good complexion products. This also feels lightweight. It gives you that flawless kind of look. I know a couple people asked me, how does this compare to the Lancome Tint Auto foundation? I think that's the name of it. This is the opposite of that. That one is more matte. I feel like that can be kind of heavy or drying on the skin. This is the complete opposite. So if you're not a fan of that foundation, definitely give this one a try. Next foundation that I will be mentioning is the Givenchy Prism Libre Skincare Matte Foundation. I was not a fan of the Skincare and Glow foundation, the one that came out earlier last year, for obvious reasons, just because it was a little too glowy. This is definitely made for somebody with oily, acne prone skin. And the reason why I say oily, acne prone, because they have a lot of skincare ingredients in it that will help fight acne. So if you're somebody who have a lot of breakouts, different things, this has clay and a bunch of other ingredients for acne prone skin. So if you want a good matte foundation, one that's not going to dry you out, also it's going to help repair your skin, definitely pick up this one. And also, this one is kind of tricky when it comes to finding your undertone, so I would say definitely go in store. I have the shade N405. This is doable. I don't feel like it's my spot on shade match, so I ain't been in a rush to get it just because I do make this work, but I would suggest going into store. This is a really nice foundation. Also, if you have the Givenchy Tint Couture foundation, that one and this one is pretty similar. I just found out that that's about to be discontinued, and I'm going to stock up on that one as well. If you have that one, you don't need to rush out to get this, because they're pretty similar down to the last two, and these two are definitely my favorite new release foundation of 2022, and these were just my favorite foundations in general this year. And the first one is the Armani Power Fabric Foundation. Y'all know I love the Armani Luminous Silk. That's still one of my favorites. This is made for oily skin. If you do not have extremely oily skin, you will not like this. This is the total opposite of the luminous matte. So if you didn't like that foundation, you felt like it was a little too luminous for you, I would say definitely pick this. This is another one that is perfect for summertime. If you have large pores, you will look poreless. You're going to look flawless. It does not transfer. It is very lightweight. It is long wearing. This is one of those matte foundations that you need in your collection. I will highly recommend this one. Also comes with the pump. I have the shade 11, which is the perfect shade match. I reviewed this one. Also reformulated this year. I didn't try the original, so I can't say whether or not what the difference is or if it's just as good as the old one. I'm not sure. I picked this up this year and I've been loving it. Last foundation, which I feel like hands down this was the best foundation of 2022. This was a foundation I could not put down when it first was released. This was released, I believe, earlier in the year, like January, February, and I know like the first 2-3 months this was pretty much all I wore. And this is the Chanel #1 foundation. This has a lot of added skincare benefits in it. I would describe this as a natural finish. This looks super skin-like, gives you your skin but better, but at the same time it looks flawless. It is very long wearing. Sometimes on Saturdays I work a 12-hour shift, and one Saturday I wore this and it held up all day. It looked exactly like my skin. I got a lot of compliments from people saying, oh, your skin looks so nice, and I'm saying to myself, I have a foundation on. But of course I didn't tell them that. Y'all, this is, again, hands down the best foundation that was released this year. It is kind of pricey. I know this costs a little more than $60. I don't know the exact price point. You can pick this up at Ulta. So if you're somebody who stock up on a lot of points at Ulta, I would say definitely get it from there versus buying it from the actual Chanel website. I don't even think this particular line is sold at Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's. I don't know if this is just exclusive to Ulta and Chanel. I'm not sure. You probably would have to do like your own research, but I would highly recommend this one. And I have the shade BD121. This is the Spot On shade match. I love this foundation. It's great for all skin types. This is the best foundation of 2022. That is it for today's video. Y'all let me know in the comment section, have you tried out any of these foundations? What are your thoughts? And also let me know what was your best foundation of the year and what foundation would you consider the worst. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.